Hey, welcome to Lessons from the Boot. I'm your host, Ms. Brittany, and every week I dive deep into the personal growth and development that living here in South Italy teaches me, in the hope that you can gain some inspiration from it wherever you may be in the world. There is that expression, words are like wands, and I truly believe that, because whether we say we can do something or we can't do something, we are always going to be right. That is the power of words. And sometimes I think we use them in everyday life really flippantly, and we don't really pay much attention to the subliminal messages that we're putting out to the universe, out to other people, and essentially how they end up becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy in our own lives. I liken this a lot to my own language learning. Now, I've been living in Italy for nearly 6 years. I say nearly 6 years. It will be 6 years in August of this year. I've still got a little way to go, but it's a long time. And during that whole period, for the majority of the time, I have found myself consistently saying, learning Italian is difficult. I'm not good at language learning. I'm a better teacher than I am a student. I'm never going to learn this language. I'm forever going to find it difficult. These are continuous statements that I have said to myself pretty much on and off over this period of time. And lo and behold, they have become a self-fulfilling prophecy, except what I haven't paid attention to is the amount of learning that I have actually done during this time, and the amount of words that I do actually know, and the level of understanding that I do actually have. And this year, I am paying particular attention to the words that I use and the language that I use, not just for myself, but also towards other people and the things that I say, because I have really come to learn how what you speak can actually become your reality. And that can be a good or a bad thing, depending on what you're saying. This year, I've definitely adopted a more positive attitude towards language learning. Instead of saying it's difficult, I'm reverse engineering it to say it's interesting, or it's going to be fun, or it's going to be a kind of competition to myself to prove to myself that I can do it. And so I've taken out the negativity that I've associated with language learning. And as such, we are day 8 into the brand new year, but I have consistently been studying Italian for 8 days, 30 minutes every day. And I do this now as part of my morning routine. This is the best part of the day for me to really commit to this, because as the day progresses, sometimes my plans can change, my schedule can change, and that can affect my ability to study. But I also find that first thing in the morning, I'm a lot more alert and awake and more excited to study in that time. So changing my words that I use around language learning has already had a really profound impact. And we're only, a week or so into this brand new year. So I'm really excited to see how that can change throughout the rest of this year. But it's also an important reminder to all of us. I hear people say pretty much on a daily basis how difficult it is to do something, or how they don't have any money, or how, life is challenging. There's always some kind of negativity associated in our daily chit chat. But what we don't realize is how powerful those words are, and how if you believe within yourself that you can't do something, you will never find a way to do it. It will just become the storyline of your life. And in the same ways, if we consistently speak about negative aspects, that is going to mirror our behavior and the experiences that we have. And so I think it's really important to always think about this when we use language. I think especially as well, for me, coming at it from the perspective of a content creator, like we are open as content creators to people's opinions and feedback, and sometimes criticism, whether it's just or unjust. And I think sometimes in those moments, people who are keyboard warriors, they have a lot to say behind their screens, don't necessarily think about the power of the words that they are typing onto a screen. And so when somebody tells you that you are not good enough, or that you should have done something, and that it's, really disrespectful that you haven't learnt the language, for example, they do not realize the power of their own words. And I think sometimes that what I have come to learn is that when you face haters or trolls in any situation of life, the best thing you can do is to send love and kindness back to them through your words and your actions, because essentially everything we put out in life comes back to us. Life is like an infinity. Everything goes around. What goes around comes around. This is the expression. And if we send love out to people who want to send hate to us, we essentially are sending love back to ourselves. If we respond to hate with hate, we are also sending that same hate back to ourselves. And I know which camp I prefer to be in and which camp I am definitely going to be focusing more on this year, because especially when it comes to content creation, I think this is now my 3rd year of having a YouTube channel. In fact, next week will mark my 3rd birthday. And during that time, I've definitely become stronger and evolved more in terms of dealing with people's opinions and comments, because they're not always nice. A lot of them do come from a place of ignorance, I would say, because people have a lot to say about another person's experience without any kind of knowledge of their own. So it has become a journey for me. But now when I see negative comments or comments that are based on ill thought out opinions, I just send love. And sometimes I literally just say, sending you lots of love, because I know that people who say these kinds of things are not happy in their own lives or in their own circumstances. Now, thankfully, this doesn't happen often. I have a really wonderful community over on my YouTube channel, but it's really important to remember this. Like, words are so powerful. And even if you are on the receiving end of words that are unkind, unjust, unfair, you have the control over the language that you can respond with or how you respond. And in turn, that is ultimately going to impact how you feel about a particular situation. So I think it's always good to remember this. You know, start to say as well, instead of saying you can't do something, say that you're going to experiment. You're going to see what you can do. You're going to have fun with something. I'm not a big fan of the word try, I have to be honest, because I do think try indicates a lack of conviction, a lack of strength. It's like, I'll try to do something, but there's no guarantee it's going to happen. And I'm not a big fan of this particular word. I think it's much better to say you are going to do something than say you are going to try to do something, because there is a different energy and strength in a sentence when you use try compared to when you use just do. And so I kind of think you can phrase sentences in different ways rather than using try. Experiment is beautiful, because experiment is like you're going to have a go at different aspects and different things and find what sticks. I think this is better than using try. But essentially, you know, it is just about being open to the words that we use and reframing situations. If you have an aspect of your life that you're not particularly happy with, or there's something that you wish would be different in your life, it's about finding the language and the words to talk about that in a way which completely changes the energy of the situation. So, for example, if you have a job that you don't particularly enjoy, but it's something that you need to do in this moment of time, then instead of saying, I have to go to work, which indicates obligation, which indicates maybe resentment, which indicates something that you don't really want to do, you could say, I choose to work, or I get to go to work. Because essentially when you use choose, you take it back to yourself. It's a personal choice that you have this job in any given moment of your life. It's a personal decision that you have made to continue to work in this environment. It is a choice. You are empowering yourself by saying you choose to do something rather than saying that you have to do it. And it's the same by saying, you know, I get to go to work. In other words, you have this opportunity to go to work. Again, it's an opportunity. It's not an obligation. It's not a chain around your neck. So for this, I think this is how we can use language in a far more effective way in 2024 and beyond. Reframing the way that we talk about things, paying really close attention and being very conscious and mindful of the language that we use in all different aspects of our life, and responding to maybe negative or unkind comments with language that is going to really reflect the self-love that we need to feel for ourselves, and is really going to generate a better response because it's coming from a high vibe place rather than also from a low vibe energy. So this is something that I really wanted to talk about today because it's something that I am definitely focusing on at the moment, and I can already see the difference and impact it has had to do with my own language learning. So I think, if you can take anything away from this today, really pay attention to the words that you use. What words in your vocabulary do you find yourself using consistently? And are they empowering you or are they bringing you down? And what can you say instead that's going to change that? I think that would be a really powerful way to reflect on our own language use and find alternative solutions so that you can use language in a much more effective and meaningful way. I'll see you in the next episode.